Welcome back to Malachi's Journey to Financial Freedom. And today I'm going to be talking about the half trend indicator. This is a free indicator that can be found on TradingView. And the reason I'm going to talk about this is that in the journey, some of the things I've looked at is manual trading versus bot trading. So I know what's going to happen when I release this. We're talking about the half trend indicator, and people are going to say, why, when I've been saying so many good things about the safety trade system, are you showing us other indicators? So the reality is that everyone's brain works differently, and everyone hears and sees and processes things differently. So what works for one person isn't going to work for everybody. And what I want to show different things that other people can use. So A, this is free, and B, it's a different signal. Where I look at the safety trade system and it works perfectly, I can say that's a buy, that's a sell, or a buy stop and a sell stop. Great. My friend who also was looking at it said, I don't get it. A perfect example, like everyone learns differently. When I was teaching different things throughout my careers or, jobs, they always said have multiple forms of teaching. So have audio, have video, have handouts. Some people need to read it. Some people need to hear it. Some people need to see it played out in front of them. Unfortunately, with YouTube, this is a kind of a play out in front of you. I can't get you into hands-on, but I want to at least give you different opportunities. One of my guys that I work with, he's like, his wife was yelling at him a while back, and she was yelling, ski pads, ski pads, ski pads. And he's like, ski pads? What is that? Is it like hockey pads? Is that like what are ski pads? And he didn't understand what she was saying. She is from a different culture, and I don't know if it was accent or if it's the way that her culture tends to bring multiple words together to make them into one word. But what she wanted him to do was skip the ads. So it was ski pads, ski pads. That's a perfect example of one person saying something that makes perfect sense in their brain and another person processing it differently. So the reason I want to give different examples of how to do this is that not everything works for everybody. I don't know how into the weeds we need to go with indicators. Do we need to talk about RSI, stochastic RSI, money flow index, MACDs, moving average crossovers? I mean, if you guys want that, I will do classes and do a video on that so people understand how it works. Throw a comment down below if that's what you want, but let me know if that's something that's going to be helpful or not, and we'll do that. I have zero problem doing that. A couple of rules I like to go by with manual trading is I like to always trade with a stop loss. So that's one thing. When I'm manually trading, I always want to set a stop loss. I learned this, like everyone else, the hard way in leverage trading, crypto and leverage trading indices, that sometimes the market reverses hard on you, and it's better off to close the trades with a loss than to try and leave them open and make that money back, or it just gets into this spiral. So trading with a bot, I trade different ways with bots. The grid martingales don't always trade with a stop loss, but they trade a lot of small trades. When trading with manual trades, I like to trade with a stop loss. Now, if it's a trade with a spot trade, that's a little different. If we're doing leverage, I'll trade with a stop loss. If you don't know the difference between a spot and a derivative or a contract for difference or a leverage trade, on a leverage trade, you're basically borrowing money from the brokerage or someone within the brokerage or their liquidity provider in order to make the trade. On a spot trade, you're actually buying the asset. The best way I can describe that is if you were to buy 1 ounce of gold and hold the gold in your hand, that would be a spot trade. And then when gold goes up, you sell it. You're never making money on shorting it because you're holding it in your hand. So in spot trades, stocks, crypto, stuff like that, where it's 1-to-1, you're actually buying the asset. We're only looking for upward trends. And I'm going to show you that on this chart. So we're going to start off. I'm going to show you where to find this on TradingView, and then I'm going to show you a couple different ways to use it, swing trades, scalping trades, things like that. So I already have this loaded in. It's called the half trend indicator. But if you want to add it, go to indicators on TradingView and type in half trend. And you're going to see two. I've got two here. Half trend will pop up. I also was looking at MTF half trend, but half trend strategy is an optional strategy, but half trend, we're just going to use this basic one right here. Whoops, added it twice. Already had it up. And let's look at the settings on this. Okay, this one in general has some very basic settings: amplitude and channel deviation. Style is just going to be the thickness. And what we're going to look at is what we're looking at here. So these bottom dots, those are ATR, top and bottom, high and low. And then, so currently I have this pulled up on Bitcoin. And what is the half trend strategy? Well, you can Google it, but I'm going to basically tell you it's a moving average crossover with an ATR. So it's got your average true range, your average range, high and low, red and blue dots. And then it's got a moving average crossover going, and it's got a midline. Crypto is a little more volatile. So what you're going to see with the more volatile crypto is it does cross over this midline, but does really kind of hug the ATR. Whereas if we go with gold, you'll see on the big pushes on gold that it really stays behind your midline here. And then when the prices cross over your midline, you'll see the switch. Now, a couple things to know about this. This signal will repaint. And what that means is during that 15-minute candle, we're running this on the 15-minute right here. If the moving average crosses over and then uncrosses, it will throw an arrow and take it back and throw an arrow and take it back. So I always like to wait until that candle is over. And as long as it's still there, that's our confirmation. So how do we use this now? That's a really great question. And that's what we're going to talk about next. This is real basic. When it's blue, it's in an upward trend. When it's red, it's in a downward trend. So what I like to do is I like to split my chart with a 4-hour and a 15-minute. So we'll just pull gold up. And for that, what we're only going to do is we're only going to take trades, or at least my idea on how I'm going to do this is if you're trading a 15-minute, you're only going to take trades in the direction of the 4-hour, or you can really do the 1-day chart if you want. However, currently I am looking at doing it on the 4-hour chart, a little bit tighter. And I am leaving right now the settings on the half trend at 2 and 2. So you can change that, completely up to you. You can use it to filter out some of these smaller signals. And what I mean by that is if we go to settings and go to inputs, if we put the amplitude at 4, what you'll notice is the higher the number on the amplitude, you're going to have less signals. However, it's not going to get these pullbacks and throw a down signal. It's going to show you more signals, basically more movement required before it actually throws that signal. In general, 2 and 2 is the base that you start with. and you can change it for whatever pair. If you change the channel deviation, that's going to be your ATR. Say if we change that to 4, what you'll notice is this gets wider, right? So it gives you more room on your ATR, and I'll show you how we use that. But for now, we're going to leave that for 2 and 2. So the first thing, it would be a scalping idea on this. So in general, you can scalp with this. What I found with scalping on the 1 minute is it's very subjective to your spread. And when I was trading on Plexy Trade, it did have about a 20-cent spread this time of night to a 30-cent spread. And when you're talking about trading, say, this trade here, we're in, if you notice on the 4-hour chart, we're in upward trend. So we're only taking upward movements. So if we waited, 1 minute candle ends, we buy in on this candle. Anywhere on this candle, let's say we got it in the worst position, got it at 26, 20, 43. Well, it did run up to 26.22. So it did give us an $1.60 range there, but we're losing almost 20+% of our profits on the spread. So just know that, and I'm going to run through and show you how this would work. I'm going to run it on a 15-minute, and we're going to replay. Let's just run back. We'll run the replay from September 2nd. All right. So now what we've done is we've gone away from, we've gotten rid of all the future chart. All we know is where we're at right here on the 4-hour chart. We're starting off this in a downward trend, and the 15-minute chart. So we're only going to take trends that match the 4-hour or overall chart. I think I'm going to run this at 3x, but I may slow it down. The problem with running it at 3x is sometimes I miss trades. If you'll notice how this moves a little fast, I can usually anticipate, okay, there, I missed it. Well, it might have helped me out by missing it because it bounced back up. So here, September 2nd, we bounced up. It threw a down arrow. In this case, we can trade derivatives, so we would take a sell. And what we're going to do on this sell is we're going to set our stop loss. It's on this chart here. I wish it had been. I should have had it on this chart. We're going to set our stop loss at either, and I usually put it at the highest reversal. So right there on the 15-minute. Or, and I wonder if I can move this up to this chart. All right, I'm going to actually close that position. It may screw us up in the end, but I'm going to set the stop loss right now at the reversal. And I'm going to switch this down to a 1x speed, and we're going to play it out. And as this drops into profit, what we want to do is we want to trail our stop loss down at, nope, we just got stopped out. We want to trail it down at the ATR, this level here. I might have gotten a little tight on that one. Okay, pause. If you just notice that repaint, I can't back this up, but it popped a downward arrow and then it repainted because it moved up. So we wouldn't take that trade because it didn't close. So we're still in a downward trend on the 4-hour market, and we're looking for downward trends to open up on the 15-minute chart. Boom. We let the candle complete and make sure it stays there. We're going to sell one. And I'll probably speed this up a little bit. Oop, I forgot to set the stop loss. Set the stop loss at our highest reversal point, which I guess we could set it here. So it'd be, we're risking $4.43. Now, you can set, a lot of stuff will say set to take profit on this. I don't like to limit my upward mobility on this. So theoretically, we would want to set at least a 2-to-1 take profit. So $9 and change. But for me, I really would rather trail a stop and I'm not limiting my profit. If I'm going to sleep, I'll set a take profit and just take it. Or I might set a trailing stop if we're already in profit there. But if I'm watching it manually, I'm just going to go ahead and trail the profit with me. So as we watch here, our ATR is going down. And once it crosses into profit, we want to move like right there. Now we want to move with it. And we might get stopped out here. Yep, we got stopped out, but that's okay. That was profitable. So we're still in a downward trend on the 4-hour. So we're not taking that upward candle. And we're going to wait for another downward trend. All right, so here we got, once again, a downward trend. We're going to let the candle close and make sure it doesn't repaint. It closed. We're going to take the sell, set our stop loss at the reversal point. And we may get stopped out here. Nope. All right. And we're going to trail down. Oh, it bounced up. So I will say this while we're watching this, waiting for another one. If you notice, that was right about 8:30-ish candle that bounced up and got us. Had we not, I am moving this directly into a break even, take profit, kind of trailing stop. Had we left it, and let me see if I can't. Well, it's already got the sell in there. Had I left it up here, we would still be in this trade. So I might have moved a little fast. What I find when I'm trading this is that in the market open and during news, which this would have been right around 8:15, 8:30 news, that this is not as, I try not to trade it during that. I won't say it's not accurate, but the big movements in the market and the big reversals with news can mess it up. And it looks like here we actually lost a little bit on that trade. We came in at 24.99 and it really bounced back up and got us. Whereas we would have been able to take that down about $20 movement on gold. So if we'd followed it down from 24.99, we could have come down, if we'd missed this, down into this range here. But we'll wait again for another. And I'm going to fast forward this in the replay so you're not stuck watching this play like this. And you really could take this upward movement here. It's not an invalid movement, but what I'm seeing is basically we're still on a downward trend here. And I want to wait for that to reverse before we take upward movement. Oh, I missed it. Okay, that was my bad. I was a little slow. Initial bar here. We should be entering here at 24.89. I'm going to go ahead and take the sell, even though we're a little late. Throw our stop loss back right up here at the pivot point and play this one out. Now, you could move this in to stop loss in right in here. Again, we're not trading large amounts of money here when this comes to this. You know, we're risking $10. We're at a $3 profit. But let's wait till it moves into, there we go, moves into profit. And we're just going to follow it down right here. Right now, we could, once again, we're up $14. So we could very easily close this out for $14 as profit. But again, I hate to limit myself in case it were to continue in that direction for $100. Why would we? Well, we got stopped out. So it did reverse on us. We closed it for about $8 profit as opposed to 14. And that's the difference of what we're doing. While we don't limit the max profit, we don't always get it either. And the reason we don't get it is because we're trailing the stop. You could, if you didn't get stopped out here, you could obviously close when you see this arrow thrown, if say your stop loss was a little further up. But if you're trailing on the ATR on this, when it's reversing, when it throws that signal, you're almost always going to be stopped out from that. And once again, this isn't an invalid signal up. If you notice, we would have entered on this candle here. Even if you got in the top of that candle, 2483, you could be 2498. But we're still in on the 4-hour chart. We're still in a downward trend. Now, if we were trading the one-day chart, the one-day chart saying that this is a complete uptrend in the one-day chart. So if you so desire, you can trade the longer chart, which is going to be more accurate, but keeping in mind there's a lot more movement in it, which is why I say don't trade the 1 minute chart. You can, but we're coming up with the 1 minute chart. There's just so much going on that it's hard to make money on it consistently. All right. Oh, let's see if this stays painted. It did not. Okay, so we're back again. Nope. Okay, back again. Let's give it one more candle. Boom. So another downwards trend. We're going to go ahead and take a sell. Oop, I forgot to set I did it on the wrong chart. I'm going to set my stop loss there. Okay, so it did go ahead and switch right back on us. So I'm going to close it out. Oh, for a loss of $1.43. And since I switched charts to show you that, it seems like it did cancel out everything we were doing before. That's okay. Run this back up to 3x. All right, here's another one. We tend to be trending, but here's another one. It's a good entry. Let's do the sell. Let's switch back to 1x. Let's set our stop loss there. All right, and that looks like news. Close this out. Now, what we'll see here is if we can see it, on the 4-hour chart, we just switched in the last bar, this new bar where this news just switched to an upward trend. What that means is we are now only going to trade buys on the upward trend. Now, one always through, so we're not going to trade that. We're going to wait till we see some other ones. And this looks like it would be a good one, which is a shame, but we weren't in it, so we shall wait. Hardest part for me is waiting on these and not trying to get in. I should have been going, okay, that was a 3x movement or 3x speed, and I was a little slow. We should have been getting in here on this bar. Once again, even if we get in the worst position on this, 25.13 or 25.11, take a buy. Set our stop loss at the pivot point. So we're risking $13 on this. And wait till it gets up into some profit maybe. Looks like it's trying to throw it faked us out. Okay, through that, we never really got hugely into profit. We could have made a little bit. Actually, it looks like we're at $1.96 profit right now, but it just threw a down signal. So we'll close that out for the profit. And we'll wait for another buy signal. Okay, 15-minute chart, buy signal, boom. We're going to go ahead and buy. Once again, set our stop loss at the pivot point, risking $13 again. Did I just, yep. Run this on 3x so we're not getting too bored. Okay, reversed on us. Go ahead and close it for the loss. Looks like it's getting ready to reverse again. This is where I get in trouble. I can see that it wants to reverse here, and everything in me wants to take that trade early. And all right, so it threw it on this bar here. Boom, we're in again. Buy. Set our stop loss at the pivot point. There we go. There's one that's making us a little bit of money here. Nope, just got stopped out. See if I can do this without slowing it down now that we're in the groove and understand what's going on. So I might have gotten there a little tight and close this out. We actually would still be riding this up if I hadn't gotten so tight on that. But that's okay. That the idea is to not take losses. It's to take wins when we can. So we're going to run through this downward. This is a kind of nice one. It's real tight. See if we can get something that goes in our favor here. All right. Go ahead and close it out for the loss. Well, nope. I was a little slow. Maybe we're going to go back up. So we're up about $6 up. Now we're down. All right, pause. Well, I was too slow to close it out. We might just let this run out then. Okay, so I really should be trailing this up a little bit. We would have gotten stopped out before. Once you get into a little bit more profit, you can always leave it a little bit more. I like to move it into that break-even range pretty quickly because I'm always kind of looking for a breakout, but at the same time, I'd rather have it close sometimes than lose big or lose money. Right now we're up about $11. Close that gap a little bit. Okay, it did throw the down signal and closed. So we would close this out now. $14 profit. I think I don't need to run through everything on that. I don't need to keep going. We did end up with a slight profit. Overall, it was pretty decent. That is kind of a scalping strategy. You can do it on the 1 minute. I find on the 1 minute it's a little bit fast. I like to run it on the 15-minute. And maybe gold wasn't the best thing to do it on for this, but I just picked one. And I actually picked, the other thing I want to show you is more of a swing strategy. And we're going to run that on the 1 day. Obviously, we're trading stocks on this. Actually, I take it back. Let's go and do, well, I said we do this. Let's do the replay. NVIDIA, let's replay it. Let's do again from 2023 and just see how it goes. And let's say we're trading, let's take, okay, this tells us we're trading 100. So we're only trading upward trends on the 1 day chart because we're buying it. We're not shorting it. And we're going to run this at the 3 speed, and I'm going to try and get the buys in when I see the arrow. Boom. And we're trailing it up. Maybe if I can grab that stop loss. There we go. Okay, I was a little slow, but we're still up. We're on it. Like, we could be entering more positions here, but I kind of feel that we're already in a position, so we wouldn't. And we're currently up about 2,000 on 100 shares. There's some points where we could have, there we go. We just got stopped out. So we're going to look for another entry point. There's one. And it reversed on us right away. So we'll look for another entry. There's a second one. There's a third one. And there we go. We're into profit. Got stopped out. One. Moving too fast for me. Okay. Still moving too fast for me. I probably would have gotten stopped out here because I think I was trying to come up to this, but I was slow. So it's a win for being slow. Now, the other thing I could do right now, we're up 4,000, our stop loss. We really could close half the position. So if we do this, if we move this to 50 and sell half the position, we're still leaving 50 open, but we're locking in profits up there. Move this back to the 100 for when we buy. And we're going to bring our stop loss up. And we give it, okay, got stopped out. So we're looking for another entry point. There's a buy. And we're into profit. Again, we're up 3,800. We could close it. We could close 50%. I'm going to tighten this way up to this ATR line and let it play out. Oh, got stopped out. So then we look for another entry point. Boom, there's another entry point. Nope, now we're going down. There's an entry point. I was a little slow. I should have gotten into that here. Okay. And there's another entry. We're in 200. So now we're in 300 positions. Okay. So we ended up, the last 3 positions are going to show as a loser. And it shows 8,000 in profit, best trade 10,000. But basically it's because it closes us out on these trades here. But overall, that was a winner for us. So that's basically a way to use the half trend. I really like it on Bitcoin, things that trend. Like the mean revision pairs are less on this. I don't like them as much, but I really like the trending pairs. So I like it on stocks. I like it on indices. I like it on crypto. Tends to have more trends. If you're patient, which I'm not all the time, if you look at where it's calling for entries, let's just pull this back and look at January. It calls for a buy at 41,000. You could ride that up. You're going to close it out somewhere in here unless you're holding. It calls for another buy here at 42,000. Might have been a little high. That might have been 43,000. It called for the buy there. It calls this beautifully. Moving average crossovers on the day chart, right? And it trends. You're not going to get in on this day. The bonus of this system on a day for a big swing trade on crypto is you just come and check it once a day. If it threw this signal yesterday, today's a perfect time to still get in. We're not holding this for one day. We're looking at holding this for weeks. So this is January 30th. We would have gotten in, like I said, buy at the worst position, somewhere in here, 44,000. We could ride that all the way up into March to 73,000 if you so desire. Now, if you'd set your stop losses on your ATR, I think, yep, you probably get stopped out here at 59. I think if I'm riding Bitcoin up from here at 43, I may close at 50 or 60. I may close half that trade. Again, here, now this one, it throws an upward trend, 69. I think you're going to get stuck in this one. It's not a whole, but you have chances to get out, right? It's going to, if you get in here during this day, yeah, you're going to have chances to get out in a month. That's once again why we don't put all our eggs in one basket. We want to be able to DCA into it. So that's a little high. Drops back down. If you're leverage trading, you're on the day chart, you might get stopped out down here. Coming back into this trade here. Remember, if we got in at 71 and we held, you're going to get back in right in this chart here at 65. So if you take two trades, 71, 65, we're really in it for like 68. And it pops right back up to 71. So while we would have held from March until May on a spot trade, so if it's a spot trade, you're not paying interest, you're just carrying it out. You're entering in here. We do get a chance to exit again. I probably, when that moves into profit, I keep seeing Bitcoin bounce off this 70,000 mark. I'm probably going to be real tight on that. Again, it throws a signal here. Say you're getting in around 64,000. Yeah, you can make a couple thousand position on that again and again. And that's this year. It's thrown like I was watching it here and it threw this signal. I did take the trade at 50, I think about 59,000 I got in. And I closed it out at 62. I bounced it when it dropped back down. I was kind of tight on that. The 4-hour chart, also pretty solid. One of the things you can do, so one of my buddies is trading ETH with this. Actually, two of my friends are trading ETH with this on the 15-minute. So the one thing I hate about charts and signals is I don't want to sit in front of the computer. One of the things you can do is you can throw alerts on here. I want to thank, once again, one of my friends that's using this and been playing with it. And basically, you can pull this up the half trend. And what I like to do is I like to alert once on the bar close. And if I'm spot trading, I'm only going to set the alert for buy. You can also set it for sell. And you can name it 15-minute ETH buy, half trend buy. And then the app on your phone or can send you an email that says, hey, the buy triggered, right? And it, in fact, would have set it at 6:45 Eastern time today. So you can create that alert right there. And how I got there is just right click. You can go up to alerts, or you can right click, add alert, and you can set your alerts for the half trend there. So that is an overall of how I'm using one of the ways I'm using the half trend. And what I like to do is I normally have it set up like this, and say on gold, and I like this, the market's open so we can kind of look at it, but I've got gold pulled up, gold's coming down, gold is still in an upward movement. I don't know where this tops out at for gold, but if you look at the 4-hour, there is another option, and I'm gonna say this, although I didn't say it. One of the other options is to treat this like your trend line. And every time it pulls back, I'm going to try and zoom out like on the 4-hour. If you so desire, every time this pulls back to the trend line, we're in an upward trend. And so basically there's your trend line here. So every time, and you see basically the same thing, it's giving you a trend line. When it pulls back to this trend line and it goes below it, you can look for it to come back up if it doesn't reverse and re-enter. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily my choice, but that is an option on how to trade this if you so desire. And you can do the same thing. And I once again, I don't love this option, but you can do the same thing like on this is when it comes, if in an upward movement, but it comes below the trend line here, you can look for a breakout up. My problem is I feel like right here, you get a lot of false on that. Here's one that would have worked, but you're kind of going back and looking. I don't love that. On this 15-minute chart, literally every time it touches here could be an entry, but I think you would have been better off just to enter here. And if you trailed this up here, and actually, so I will be the first one to say that I look at the charts and I kind of see what's going on. Well, I anticipated this and I didn't wait for it to throw the signal Thursday night. And I traded here as it bounced across. And I set my stop loss right in here as it was about 9:30 at night and I was getting ready to go to bed. And I got stopped out. This is 8 cap, so it's not exact, but I got stopped out right in here. And I woke up in the morning, and what time was I get up? I got up about 5:30, I think, between 5 and 5:30. And I woke up and saw that gold had gone from where I got stopped out at 2586-ish up to 2608. Had I been awake, it's okay. I'm not always awake. Had I been awake and not tired and waited, I would have entered the trade here for sure, 2591 through the signal. I would have set my stop loss here, 2584. And then I probably would have set a trailing stop if I'm going to bed to trigger at about a $2. Once it goes up $2, trail it. So I probably would have gotten stopped out in here somewhere. But if I just set the stop loss here and then woken up in the morning, I would have picked up all this. And I probably would have honestly come in at, say, 5 in the morning and set my stop loss either here or here, and probably gotten stopped out on either one. So I probably would not have maxed out to the 26.23, or I could have closed half and ridden out some of the other profit. Sometimes I'll do that. I'll close half the position for profit and ride out, or open two, if you're so desire, open 2 positions, close one out for profit and leave one at break even and just see how far it goes. Okay, folks, so that was the half trend indicator. Nothing's perfect. I hope that that gives you an overall idea of how to use it and then how to set your stop losses with it. This is kind of a single indicator. I usually tell people don't just use one indicator to enter or exit a trade, use others. However, this is also a moving average crossover with ATR built in, so it's not only one indicator. However, if you're looking for other things, you can use a MACD or something like that as well with it as deciding when or not to enter or exit your trade, We will do some other videos on that. Again, do me a favor. If you like this content, hit like, hit the subscribe, leave me a comment down below. I am trying to get to 1,000 followers and 4,000 hours of watch time so that I can monetize the YouTube channel and then show the people following me how much YouTube actually pays content creators. Have a good weekend and be safe with your trading. Set your stop losses manually. Try and make everyone make some money.